There is a moment in every one of our lives when the weight of what if becomes overwhelming. Fear can shift from a distant shadow into a constant, buzzing anxiety that makes every decision feel like a crisis. You've probably been told to just stop worrying, but it's rarely that simple. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. They recognized that while our bodies react to stress, whether the threat is real or imagined, the true source of our suffering often lies within our own minds. Our imagination can create far more intense turmoil than most actual events ever could. But what if the path to peace wasn't about adding more techniques, but about embracing a few profound, honest truths? What if freedom from anxiety wasn't about silencing fear, but about understanding it? Today, we're going to dive deep into the wisdom of the Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca. His teachings aren't a gentle pat on the back. They are practical strategies to reclaim control over your emotions. These are the 12 brutal truths from his philosophy that can help you cultivate mental toughness and short-circuit panic, starting now. Number 1. Your environment feeds your inner dialogue. The first truth is that your anxiety is not born in a vacuum. It is fed and watered by what you consume every single day. The people you talk to, the news you read, the feeds you scroll through. These are the ingredients that create your inner world. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." This is a crucial principle in Stoic philosophy because it places the source of our suffering squarely inside our own minds. Consider how this plays out. You're scrolling late at night, seeing curated images of success and flawless relationships. Your mind starts to weave a narrative of inadequacy. The algorithm feeds you outrage, and your inner dialogue becomes a reflection of that chaos. The anxiety you feel is a direct response to the data you are feeding your brain. So here is a practical exercise. For the next 7 days, conduct an audit of your information diet. Identify the top 5 inputs you consume daily. Choose 3 of them to mute or avoid for 1 week. Replace that time with something intentional. Read a book, listen to a podcast that inspires you, or go for a walk without your phone. Each evening, take 2 minutes to reflect on a simple question. What did my environment make me feel today, and why? This isn't about blaming the world. It's about taking ownership of the world you choose to let in. Number 2. You are not your thoughts. The second brutal truth challenges your very identity. You are not your thoughts, especially the anxious ones. You are the observer of your thoughts. This distinction is the difference between being caught in a storm and watching it from a safe harbor. Seneca observed that we suffer from sorrows we exaggerate, imagine, or anticipate. Those thoughts that scream, "I'm a failure," or "this is going to be a disaster," are not objective reality. They are mental habits. Imagine you're on a train platform. Thoughts are the trains that come and go. Some are pleasant, others are loud, screeching freight trains of panic. You may have a habit of jumping onto every freight train, letting it carry you to despair, but you have the power to simply stand on the platform and watch it go by. You can acknowledge it. There is the "I'm a failure" train again without getting on board. You are the platform, not the train. Here is your exercise. Practice the observer mode. The next time a wave of anxiety hits, mentally step back and label the thought. Say to yourself, "I am having the thought that I am going to fail." This simple act creates a space between you and the thought. It transforms it from a fact into mental weather passing through. For 5 minutes each day, sit quietly. As thoughts arise, simply label them as thinking and gently return your focus to your breath. You are not fighting your thoughts. You are simply choosing not to serve them. Number 3. Stop arguing with reality. The third brutal truth is that a vast amount of your anxiety comes from a single futile activity, arguing with what is. Every time you think, "This shouldn't be happening," you are picking a fight with reality, a fight you will lose at the cost of your peace of mind. Seneca gave this stark advice: don't be unhappy before a crisis comes, because the dangers you fear may never happen at all. By wishing for reality to be different, you are choosing to be unhappy right now over a situation you cannot change. You get stuck in traffic and rage that you shouldn't be late, multiplying your suffering. The Stoics would say you are arguing with the nature of the universe. Acceptance doesn't mean you like it. It means you stop wasting energy, resisting it, and redirect that energy toward your response. The exercise for this is to pivot to action. When you catch yourself arguing with reality, pause and say, "It is what it is." This is not a phrase of defeat, it is a phrase of liberation. Then, immediately ask, "Now, what will I do?" The traffic is what it is. Now I will call to let them know I'm late. The bill is what it is. Now I will create a payment plan. Try to catch yourself in these moments. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become an agent of your own response. A subtle but powerful shift. Number 4. You're tired, not broken. The fourth brutal truth is a diagnostic one. Often, what you are labeling as a deep-seated anxiety disorder is, in fact, simple exhaustion. We have forgotten that we are biological beings, not machines. When your body is depleted, your mind suffers. A sentiment that echoes Seneca's writings is that we are as unhappy as we have convinced ourselves we are. We convince ourselves we are broken, that our anxiety is a permanent fixture. But have you noticed how anxiety spirals are 1,000 times worse when you've only had 4 hours of sleep? Or how a difficult conversation feels catastrophic when you haven't eaten a proper meal? The feeling is real, but the story you attach to it that you are fundamentally broken is a fiction. For this truth, the exercise is to become a needs detective. For 1 week, before you allow yourself to spiral, perform a check-in. Ask yourself 4 questions. Am I tired? Am I hungry? Am I dehydrated? Am I overstimulated? If your energy is low, your only job is to address one of those needs without guilt. You might be shocked to discover how many of your anxiety attacks are actually your body's signal for basic resources. Treat your physical state as the very foundation of your mental state. Number 5. Gratitude kills negativity. The fifth brutal truth is that your mind cannot easily hold a thought of genuine gratitude and a thought of anxious negativity at the same time. Gratitude is not a platitude. It is a tactical weapon against the machinery of anxiety. Anxiety thrives on what is lacking. Gratitude anchors you in what you already possess. Seneca warned, "Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future." Anxiety is a state of neglecting the present. Gratitude yanks you back into the now. Amid the pain of a personal failure, you can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. In the midst of financial worry, you can savor your morning coffee. These are not small things. They are grounding realities that your anxious mind tries to erase. The exercise here is simple. 3 daily blessings. Every morning, before you pick up your phone, name 3 specific things you are grateful for right now. Be specific. Instead of my family, say the way my partner smiled at me yesterday. Say them out loud. This practice, done consistently, rewires your brain to scan for the positive instead of constantly scanning for threats, diminishing the power of anxiety over time. Number 6. The stories you tell yourself create your pain. The sixth and perhaps most central brutal truth is that events themselves do not cause your suffering. The stories you tell yourself about those events are what create your pain. This is a stark reminder that our interpretation of events, not the events themselves, often causes our greatest suffering. This is the absolute core of Seneca's most famous quote. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Your imagination is a powerful storyteller. It takes a neutral fact and weaves it into a horror story where you are the victim. A boss gives you blunt feedback. Fact. Your mind creates a story of imminent failure. Story. Recognizing this pattern is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Your exercise is to become the story editor. When you feel a spike of anxiety, identify the objective fact of what happened. Then, identify the story you are telling yourself. Write it down in 2 columns: fact and story. Fact: my boss rescheduled our meeting. Story: she is avoiding me because my work is terrible. Now, challenge that story. Write down at least 2 alternative, more neutral stories. The goal is to break the monopoly of the negative one, proving to your mind that its first, catastrophic interpretation is a choice, not a fact. Number 7. Don't trust the first emotion. The 7th brutal truth is that your first emotional response, especially when anxious, is often an overreaction. It is an evolutionary relic. The fight or flight impulse once saved you from predators, but now it's triggered by an ambiguous email. Acting on this initial spike is like pouring gasoline on a fire. As Seneca advised, you can temper your fear with reason. The initial flash of panic is a weakness. The Stoic approach is to let that first wave wash over you without being carried away. A useful model for this comes from neuroanatomist Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, who speaks of a 90-second rule. She suggests the physiological lifespan of an emotion's chemical rush is about 90 seconds. While prolonged feelings are often sustained by our own recurring thoughts, this concept provides a powerful exercise. When you feel that initial hit of panic, commit to doing nothing for 90 seconds. Just breathe. Observe the sensations in your body without judgment. You will feel the initial intensity crest and then begin to recede. Only after that pause do you ask, is this emotion useful? If it's just raw panic, you let it go. If there's useful information, you can act on it from a place of reason, not unthinking reaction. Number 8. Recognize what is within and outside your control. The 8th brutal truth is the cornerstone of all Stoic practice. You must relentlessly separate what is within your control from what is not. Your anxiety is almost entirely located in the second category. This idea, the dichotomy of control, was famously articulated by Epictetus and is echoed throughout Seneca's work. The Stoics argued that our choices, judgments, and actions are up to us. Everything else, the weather, the economy, what other people think is not. Worrying about things you cannot control is a form of self-inflicted torture. Your power lies entirely in redirecting that energy toward what you can control: your preparation, your attitude, and your response. The exercise is to create a control inventory. Take a piece of paper and draw a circle. Inside, write all the aspects of a situation you have direct control over: your effort, your words, your choices. Outside the circle, write everything you do not control the outcome: other people's reactions, external events. Now, make a conscious vow to focus your energy exclusively on what is inside that circle. This visual exercise is a brutal but liberating reminder of where your power truly lies. Number 9. Reflect on impermanence and death. Memento mori. The ninth brutal truth is one our modern culture avoids. You are going to die. This isn't meant to be depressing. In the Stoic view, it is the single most powerful tool for cutting through trivial anxiety. This practice is called memento mori. Remember you will die. Seneca taught that we should prepare our minds as if we've come to the very end of life, postponing nothing. Thinking about your mortality puts current anxieties into perspective. That embarrassing thing you said last week, that fear of being judged, in the face of your own inevitable end, how much do these things truly matter? Contemplating this clarifies what is truly important and what is just noise. The exercise is a mortality meditation. Every morning for just 30 seconds, contemplate the fact that this day could be your last. Not in a morbid way, but as a catalyst for action. Ask yourself, if this were my last day, what truly matters? Then, when trapped in an anxiety spiral, zoom out and place that worry on the timeline of your entire life. From that vantage point, will this specific worry even register? The answer is almost always no. This practice isn't about inviting despair. It is about manufacturing courage. Number 10. Don't let external circumstances determine your self-worth. The 10th brutal truth is that your self-worth cannot be determined by external achievements or the opinions of others. Tying your value to things outside of your control is a guaranteed recipe for lifelong anxiety. While the line, "You may fetter my leg, but not my will," belongs to Epictetus, it perfectly captures a core Senecan belief. Your true self, your character, your will, your ability to make virtuous choices is untouchable. You can lose your job or your reputation, but no one can take away your integrity unless you surrender it. Yet, we often outsource our self-esteem, feeling worthless if we are laid off or criticized. We build our identity on unstable ground. The exercise for this is to build your internal citadel. This is a mental fortress of self-worth, based only on things you control. Your virtues. Write down 5 internal qualities you value and can cultivate, regardless of external outcomes. Honesty, discipline, courage, kindness, resilience. At the end of each day, instead of judging yourself by what you achieved, ask, did I act with honesty today? Did I show courage? This shifts your sense of self from the fragile world outside to the unbreakable world within. Number 11. Practice accepting emotions without identifying with them. The 11th brutal truth is that you cannot stop waves from coming, but you can learn to surf. Emotions are natural. The attempt to suppress them is what gives them their power. The Stoic goal is not to feel nothing. It is to not be controlled by what you feel. Seneca writes that we are often frightened by uncertainties, as if they were certainties. We treat the feeling of anxiety as proof of catastrophe. You feel a pang of anxiety and identify with it. I am anxious. But what if you viewed that anxiety as simply a visiting guest? It's here, but it's not you, and it's not a permanent resident. The exercise is welcoming the visitor. Sit quietly and allow whatever emotion you're feeling to be present. Instead of pushing it away, mentally say, "Ah, anxiety, you are here. I see you." You don't have to like it. You just have to drop the resistance. Observe it with curiosity. Where do you feel it in your body? By observing it without identifying with it, you rob it of its power. You see that it is just a transient cluster of sensations and thoughts. You are the house. Anxiety is just a guest. Number 12. Build a habit of small, positive actions each day. The 12th and final brutal truth is that anxiety is a habit, and the only way to break a habit is to replace it with a better one. You cannot think your way out of anxiety. You must act your way out. Freedom from anxiety is built brick by brick through small, consistent, daily actions. Seneca famously said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Anxiety is a great thief of time. It paralyzes us. The antidote is momentum, and momentum is built from the smallest possible unit of action. The person who transforms their health doesn't start by committing to a marathon. They start by putting on their running shoes and walking to the end of the driveway. Your final exercise is to choose one micro-action. Pick one tiny, almost laughably small positive action that you can commit to doing every single day. If you have social anxiety, your micro-action could be to send one text to a friend. If you have anxiety about your health, it could be to do one push-up. This isn't about the action itself. It's about building the habit of disciplined action. This daily vote of confidence in yourself is the most powerful long-term antidote to the helplessness that anxiety breeds. Conclusion. As we wrap up today's discussion, it's clear that the teachings of Stoicism aren't just abstract theories. They offer practical strategies that can be applied to our daily lives. These 12 truths demand that you take responsibility for your mind. They ask you to stop being a passive victim of your anxious thoughts and to start being an active architect of your inner peace. Remember, Stoicism doesn't promise an easy life. Rather, it offers the tools to deal with life's challenges more effectively. It encourages us to see every obstacle as an opportunity to practice virtue. By applying these practices, we're not just surviving, we're thriving, cultivating a life of peace and fulfillment from within. If you're interested in continuing this journey of applying ancient wisdom to modern problems, consider subscribing to the channel. The path to wisdom is long, but every step you take is a step towards a more meaningful life. Thank you for watching.